Hi again, it's Aeron Mack, the backyard trainer, and welcome to Flip That Horse. In this episode, I'm getting ready to get on our filly Sundance for the very first time. Stay tuned. Okay, so as we continue to prepare to get on Sundance for the first time, I'm going to keep jumping up and putting some weight in the stirrup. I'm not getting all the way up yet. I'm just continuing with the jumping up and down, and now I'm putting a foot in the stirrup and letting a little bit of my weight get in the stirrup, and then hopping right back down again. So everything I do still has a beginning, a middle, and an end, each action, so that she knows that even if something is frightening her a little bit, that it's about to end. This teaches the horse to have some patience. And as I continue, I'm going to continue to pat her and do everything on both sides the way I've been doing. And she's being attentive and paying attention, but still holding still. And I'm going to continue to just put a little bit more weight on the saddle each time and let her slowly get used to me hopping up and down. The more times I can hop up and down, the better. So here we are, it's the next day, and now I've got my riding halter on her and the reins that go with it, both of which can be found on my website if you're interested. And now I'm going to go ahead and lean my body across the saddle, but in case she should get scared and squirt off, I'm ready to hop down, and I've got one hand on her mane with the reins in my hand. So if she did decide to squirt off, I would just jump back down and then pull her head back around towards me, disengaging her hindquarters. So as I continue, I'm just going to put more weight in the saddle, and I'm going to pat her on the opposite side of her body so she gets used to feeling me up and over and on top of her, and also the feeling of having me on one side and touching her on the other side at the same time. So I'll continue to do this until I'm feeling that she's calm and quiet, and when she is, I'm going to go ahead and swing my leg over. Not too gently and not too slowly, but not too rough either. And just let her sit there for a minute, and then I'm going to get right back off. For the same reasons, so she knows there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And also it's equally important to practice getting off and out of the saddle as it is getting up and in the saddle. So every chance I get, I'm going to reward her, and I'm constantly patting her, and I'm just going to continue to do this. I'm going to do it from both sides. I'm going to grab a hunk of mane and have that rope in my hand, but you'll notice that I'm leaving the reins very loose and loopy. If at this point she decided to walk off or got scared and tried to squirt out from under me, I would not pick up on both reins. I might pick up on one rein and bend her head around, or I might just let her walk around, and if she's being fairly calm, just keep the reins loose. At this point, I'm not worried about steering or stopping. She can't really go anywhere. She's in the round pen. And even if she decides to run around a little bit, I'm just going to really just sit up there as a passenger and go along for the ride. I would only pick up the one rein and correct her by bending her head if she was bucking or doing anything squirrely. But if she's just walking around or trotting around, I'd leave the reins loose like this and just let her go. You can see there she's licking her lips. So she's getting used to this, getting on, pat, 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 getting off. I'm going to repeat this a bunch of times, and basically just patting her and talking to her while I'm up there, and letting her get used to the feel of me up in the saddle and the sound. And again, the more times I can get on and get off, the calmer she's going to be about the whole process. So that's something I'm going to repeat several times, and just let her get used to it. So far she's being very good. I'm going to square her up a little bit because she's standing a little bit crooked. There we go. And again, just grab the one rein and a hunk of mane. I'm using her mane mostly to pull myself up. Not so much the saddle because I don't want it to roll over and get crooked. And then, as you can see, she's still licking her lips, so she's good with what we're doing, and she hasn't tried to move yet, but I'm just going to sit up there for a little while and let her kind of take it all in and pat her and talk to her, and still keeping that nice loop, loose reins, no bit, we don't need it. And this is exactly what I'm after. I want her to just stand still and hang out with me. So that's exactly what she should be doing. Good girl. So while I'm up there, I'm just going to start picking up on one rein very lightly and seeing if she remembers about yielding her head around, which she does. So we're going to continue to do that while I'm sitting up there. So I'll stay sitting in the saddle for a little bit longer period each time I get up and start messing around with the reins, just picking one up at a time. I'm not going to pick both reins up at the same time because that doesn't mean anything to her yet and it doesn't do any good. So I'm just going to pick up one rein at a time and have her yield her head around. And you can see that it does not take a lot of pressure, a very light amount of pressure, and she bends her head right around to the side. So already you can see how nice and light she's going to be once we start introducing the concept of steering. That's exactly what I'm looking for, and the key is that nice quick release each time she does it right. So that's it. We've gotten on her. She's officially broken. Not really, but it's a good first try, and we're going to leave it there for today.